Before you watch this episode of our cityCURRENT radio show, I want to invite you to join cityCURRENT's e-learning and online personal development platform called GrowthCurrent. I'm Jeremy Park, host of the cityCURRENT radio show and CEO of cityCURRENT. GrowthCurrent is your exclusive ticket to attend virtual events with global thought leaders, national guest speakers, and experts who can help you grow personally and professionally. It gives you access to success secrets, lessons learned, learning modules, and so much more. Being online, you can join us from anywhere in the world. Subscriptions are only $8 a month, or you can do bulk subscriptions for your team. Check out growthcurrent.com to learn more and to join us in our efforts to power the good. And now, on to the show. Welcome back to the cityCURRENT radio show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're honored to be with our next guest, Victor Brown. He is the founder and the CEO of Xcellent Life. How are you doing, Victor?
I'm doing well. I'm really excited to be part of your show today. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. So you being the founder, let's dive into a little bit of your personal story, but talk about founding Xcellent Life. Give us a little bit of the history of the organization.
Sure. So Xcellent Life is a digital health company, and the chances of me being in this place maybe 5 years ago seemed to be a little bit unnatural for me. I worked in the energy sector and started as an engineer and transitioned to product management, sales and marketing, and did a lot of stuff in the energy sector. Really thought I was going to retire in that industry, and lo and behold, my dad's health started changing a little bit, and I started to get more involved. And with that involvement, I recognized that there was a really huge kind of inefficiency that was a part of healthcare, and that inefficiency could be resolved and solved by some of the same applications I had developed subject matter expertise in the energy sector. So at that point in time, I decided to take something that was something I was very familiar with and apply that to improving health and wellness, which I became incredibly passionate about given the experience with my dad.
I think one of the cool things when you talk about entrepreneurship and innovation, it comes from, in many cases, taking your experiences and connecting dots that weren't connected before. So to your point, taking a look at your background and expertise and then bringing that into the healthcare side, taking it from energy to healthcare is a really cool way to look at innovation. And so talk about, just in terms of the way you kind of build it out, talk about the program in terms of how it works.
Sure. So to give you an analogy of why those two worlds are different and why healthcare has a lot of opportunity, in the energy sector, we have critical assets, and the highest end of the energy chain, think nuclear reactor. Now, what would it be like if we said, hey, we're going to let that nuclear reactor start to melt down, and then at that point go in and try to fix it? Well, most people will understand that's not a good approach because it would cause catastrophic failure. Well, here we have the human body, which is the most critical asset we have. But that same ridiculous approach that we described in the other scenario, that's the standard that we bear in healthcare. So everything's reactionary. Symptoms drive us to the medicine cabinet. They drive us to the doctor, hospital, what have you. The difference is in the energy sector, everything is kind of proactive. We have sensors and monitor that can monitor assets in real time. And essentially our bodies are a very sophisticated electrical network. Now with the oncoming of wearable devices, a plethora of information is already available to us that we've captured about medical conditions and, things that are traditionally tracked. We can couple the real-time information we're gathering from wearables, sensors, devices, and from all those different sources, utilize technology with machine learning and AI to understand various signatures in the human body. So that's essentially what we're doing with Xcellent Life. It's a platform that's designed to first collect and understand in a very intuitive way pieces of information that have historically been siloed, but we're looking at that in a very holistic way. And then we're utilizing machine learning and AI to understand various signatures that can identify oncoming illness well before those illnesses manifest themselves.
One of the cool things when you talk about technology and AI is the idea of, and I kind of want you to talk about this, is a digital twin, so to speak. And so to where you almost have a twin, to your point, that's it's looking ahead and trying to figure out, okay, what could go wrong, and let's work ahead and be proactive. And so talk about kind of that, taking it to the next level of the AI and using that, to your point, to really be proactive, but to really give you the information at hand so that you can make great choices, but you can also too fight against some of the things that could happen in the future.
Sure, great question. The world that we live in is an analog world, so there are infinite possibilities. When we digitize something, it's purely a way of simplifying a very complex environment. And with regards to the human body, if you look at any biological metric, you're going to have a normal phase or normal mode, or a mode that's a little above normal, or critically above normal, and the same with below and critically below normal. If you create those categories and you're essentially normalizing the possibilities, when you start to plot the various key biometric vitals, you can start to see signatures that in some cases are repeatable patterns. And when you see those patterns well in advance of what we traditionally have been able to do, say, oh, okay, this is a person that's very likely to get type 2 diabetes because we see the pattern. Oh, this is a person that quite likely going to experience pancreatic cancer. Like, the sky is, just the limit with regards to what the discoveries are available to us when you start looking at the data in a different way, in a much more comprehensive way. So those are examples of some of the things that are possibilities as we start to really evolve our platform and analyze and understand the data that we're collecting.
Yeah. Give us almost like a little bit of a verbal demonstration in terms of the way it works, and kind of walk us through the model in terms of, user interface and just kind of how it works.
Sure. So today, the user interface is much more simple than what I described there, which is kind of the things we're doing under the hood. For a typical user, they would have a mobile app or interface with our software platform. That mobile app or software platform is designed to really incentivize them to act and behave more healthy. So we have key body metrics. There are 38 metrics that we're looking at today. And through gamification, where we look for the improvement of each of those metrics, we award points. And we can, at the end of a game, designed to be either 1 week, 1 day, 1 year, however we configure it, we can award money that goes directly to an individual for improving a combination of metrics or a single metric. And what they see is really in real time an indication of where that metric is relative to where it should be. And then we incentivize them to improve that by taking certain measures. And that's essentially what the user interaction is like. We capture information by way of integration of Fitbit and Apple Health Kit, and also allow for user-entered information, as well as batch uploads of files and data from larger, kind of software database sources.
Talk about user in terms of individual versus like a family versus a company that wants to roll this out to its employees. How do those different areas work?
Sure. So in every case, whether it's an individual, whether it's a company, the lack of health has an impact that is negative in terms of cost. And in every case, whether it's an individual or a company, the improvement in health has the increased value of improved quality of life, improved business function, profitability, and all those things that are really good. So for an individual, when they're looking at their information and they can see kind of in real time where their health is, having that in mind can by itself change behavior, because if you're seeing that you're doing certain things and you're becoming healthier, you continue to do those things and vice versa. For a business, they can spend millions of dollars, depending on the size of the business, to pay healthcare coverage costs. A large piece of that cost is associated with medical incidents. So as a business can control the number of medical incidents they have, they can substantially lower their cost. And what we do is help them lower those incident rates and also improve the health and wellness of their employee base so that they see the net benefit of reduced costs and also improve productivity.
Talk about geographical footprint being technologically driven. That removes a lot of the geographical barriers. So talk about just kind of scope and in terms of where this can be.
Sure. So I always envisioned Xcellent Life as a global company. And that's kind of my background. Before I started working for startups, I worked for a very large corporation for 11 years. And understanding this is a global problem, about $1.4 trillion every year is lost due to mismanagement of, preventable illnesses, and over 30 million people die. So understanding this is a global problem is something that could easily kind of scale across the globe. provided that they have access to a mobile device, access to really a data source or internet. And once someone has that, whether it's an individual or a corporation, there's an opportunity to benefit from solutions like Xcellent Life.
How on your end is it a subscription based? Talk about the actual business model on your end.
Sure. So it's a subscription base when it comes to the business to business component. They would pay for access to our platform. In exchange for that, they get data, information that can help drive costs down, and of course, the improved value that we bring to those businesses, their customers, their clients, or either their patients.
Where you mentioned, kind of looking at the global impact of this and the opportunity there. Talk about some of your goals now, and then looking forward over the next 2 to 3 years. Where do you want to be?
Sure. So what we want to do is certainly establish a footprint in the Southeast and grow from there. But we're also very opportunistic in the conversations that we're having that will set the stage for Xcellent Life being a global company and a household brand name. So today we're already in conversations with what could be some really incredible strategic partners that have expressed interest in our technology and what we're doing. And those partners are in both the US, Europe, and also South Africa.
Yeah, nice. Talk about COVID-19, because, when you talk about health, COVID-19 has taken a pretty heavy toll on health as people have been stressed and obviously dealing with that stress in different ways. And so talk about COVID-19 and looking at this as a piece of the overall equation in terms of what you're able to kind of help mitigate in some ways.
Sure. So with COVID-19, certainly there's been a much bigger focus on digital health in general. And one of the things that we're doing is understanding the emotional impact that COVID-19 has on everyone. So we recently added to part of the metrics we're monitoring, mood metrics. So depending on whether someone is happy, sad, someone is, really anxious or calm, all these different kind of mood characterizations can really determine a lot about where that person might be tracking, whether they're in a good place or a bad place. And when our application sees that they're tracking really in the wrong direction based on an algorithm that we've designed, we can identify individuals that need some assistance. So that's one example, one of the things we're doing that could really be a benefit in a very trying time and age.
How has this changed you in terms of your personal outlook on health? And you mentioned obviously working through this with your dad, but and seeing kind of, hey, we need to connect these dots and be more proactive. How has this changed your personal approach to your health and your wellness and looking at it as an opportunity?
No, that's a great question. I would say that for me, there hasn't been a ton of change outside of me feeling very encouraged because of the decision that was made years ago and feeling very much isolated in terms of like, no, this is where we need to go. I know it's not like, things are today, but having that kind of early adopter, innovator dilemma. But now that unfortunately we have COVID-19, there's so much more understanding of the need for digital health. So the change for me has been more about feeling a lot more encouraged about the acceptance of overall technology and innovation in healthcare in general.
Give me one tip for you as an entrepreneur, one tip that you would offer for others who want to be entrepreneurs, who want to follow their dreams, who want to do something special. Give me one of your favorite tips or bits of advice.
Yeah, I would say without a doubt, do something that you're passionate about and make sure that you are 100%, candid and honest with yourself in following that passion. That means that, first of all, if you're passionate about it, it gives you the ability to overcome many obstacles, and you'll run into a lot of obstacles. Most of the people that you talk to are not going to, either understand or support what you do. But that lack of understanding should not be an impediment, especially if you're passionate. But the being truthful and 100% candid with yourself, that piece of it is important, because in any important thing you do that is very difficult, you have to go through a process that is a very difficult process. You have to be able to ask yourself every single moment of that process, are you giving 100% to it? And if you're not giving 100% to it, then certainly that may not be something that you are as passionate about or as dedicated to achieving as you should be. So as long as you can ask yourself that question and the answer is yes, I'm giving 100% to it, I have no doubt that anyone can achieve great things.
Wrap up and talk about how we can help and obviously where we go. So website and social media and all that good stuff. But how do we help and where do we go?
Well, first of all, this by itself has been a big help. Just having an opportunity to be on your show. I really love what you guys are doing and how you're promoting good and driving good throughout the community. So congratulations for being, a great organization. The way you can help is in addition to that, is really others can get on board with understanding that smaller companies that are early in their ambition need resources. We need support. We need individuals that'll be willing to tell our story and give us airtime like yourself. So to the extent that businesses can come to the table and say, hey, we'd like our employees to be more healthy and well. Let us have an opportunity to help solve their problem. To the extent, media organizations, want to, tell a story that, might help encourage someone else. We want to be a part of that as well. So all those things are very much welcome. They help in our journey.
Yeah. So wrap up with the website, phone number. Where do we go to learn more?
Yeah. The website is www.xcellentlife.com. And that is excellent with an X, Xcellent, life.com. And you can always find information there. I'm very active on LinkedIn as well. Victor L. Brown, that's really a great place to catch me. And if you can't catch me there in the website, then I love direct emails and phone calls. Email me at victor.brown@excellentlife.com, again, spelled with an X, or you can reach me at area code 614. I used to stay in Ohio, area code again, 614-935-5161. And that's the best way to figure out how to specifically help support our organization.
Well, Victor, thank you for all you're doing. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you for coming on the show.
Well, I appreciate it, Jeremy. It's been a great pleasure, and thank you once again.